And of course, we are broadcasting at 1080 on your AM dial. Telephone number here, if you would like to call and join in our discussion, is 524-1080. Give us a call. We'll put you on the radio and see what you have to say about the various comments that I make with regards to the news, or just with regards to ideas that have come across my desk or my mind that I wanted to share with you. The first item in the news deals with prosecutors' decision to drop the case or cases against Edwards. Now, Edwards is John Edwards, who had been a presidential candidate. Prosecutor did bring the case against him. I believe it was in North Carolina, in Raleigh, North Carolina. Federal prosecutors have announced that they will not be proceeding with the remainder of the charges, which were undecided by the jury, and they found him not guilty on one of the charges, and that was mishandling some of the campaign funds, it appears. The prosecutors are now being criticized, and on one hand saying that they're essentially wimps for not being willing to prosecute John Edwards. The fact is that the prosecutors did prosecute John Edwards, and they failed in their prosecution to find him guilty. It was a hung jury of the 5 charges, and now the prosecutor has decided not to continue with the case. After a 6-week trial in North Carolina, jurors acquitted Edwards on 1 count of accepting illegal campaign contributions and deadlocked on 5 other felony counts. The U.S. Justice Department said in a court order that it will not seek to retry Edwards on the 5 counts. Assistant Attorney General Lanny Cure, who oversees the agency's criminal division, said prosecutors knew the case, like all campaign finance cases, would be challenging. But he said it's not, quote, our duty to bring hard cases when warranted. He said it is our duty. Prosecutors accused Edward of masterminding a scheme to use about $1 million in secret payments from 2 wealthy political donors to hide his pregnant mistress as he sought the White House in 2008. Okay, I'll stop there, and my general comments is that prosecutors should not have brought the case from the very beginning. It was a very shallow case, and the jury apparently would agree with my sentiments in this particular case. If the prosecutors are serious about their job, why are they not prosecuting George Bush? Why are they not prosecuting Dick Cheney? Why are they not prosecuting those people who really cost the United States great monies and embarrassment, as well as lives? And I would place that responsibility directly on the shoulders of Barack Obama, making a political decision not to proceed with that prosecution, when, if there is any prosecution that is justified, it would be to prosecute these international criminals for the conduct that they have proceeded with during the 8 years prior to the Obama administration. So I think that is where prosecution, or attention and criticism of the prosecutors, really should be put on the failure to prosecute for war crimes. The second item that comes to my attention is the doctor who helped the CIA was actually outed by Pakistanis. The question that is being submitted in this news Q&A is how and why was the identity of Shakil Afridi, the doctor who helped the CIA confirm that Osama bin Laden was at the compound in Abbottabad, and who now has been convicted of conspiring against Pakistan, ever revealed? And the answer is a senior administration official told FoxNews.com that Pakistan informed on Afridi. I guess that's how you pronounce his name, Afridi. If you go back to the first stories about the doctor's alleged affiliation with the U.S., it was clear Pakistan authorities leaked it to the press, according to the article. The Pakistanis found Dr. Afridi on their own. There was no attempt to disclose this individual's name or association with the operation. That defies logic. Identities of human sources are sacrosanct in the intelligence community. Okay. Now, when you talk about these identities and these leaks and all of that stuff, Fox News, having released this information, also received information from a, quote, senior administration official. Now, what makes it such that they can go ahead and receive these leaked information from senior administration officials and everything seems honky-dory? But when another person leaks other information that may not be in the favor of the administration at that time, then they are subject to prosecution. Let's take, for example, who was that? This sergeant or private, whatever his name was, who gave information to Julian Assange through WikiLeaks, and all of the other leaks that is being made through WikiLeaks. And yet they are said to be criminals. They should not be engaged in that kinds of activities, and they should be prosecuted. While here, and it continues on and on and on, when it favors that political position, then these unnamed officials who continually, as a regular course of business, continually leak this information, these Fox News folks are reporting it as if it's all fair and good and there's no problems with it. I guess basically what I'm saying is that should not the standards be the same for everyone, irrespective of where you stand on a particular issue? And that if that's the case, then there should be no secrets, or everything should be absolutely secret, and the media should not be receiving these tales being told by the administration. Well, in this case, getting more specifically to the point, the Pakistani doctor who assisted the CIA was subsequently found guilty of a criminal act that is conspiring against Pakistan. Was it a conspiracy against Pakistan? Of course, the CIA violated Pakistani sovereignty by planning and invading within the sovereign territory of Pakistan. Now, what does it make this particular person? Does it make him a hero or a villain? What makes, what's his name, Benedict Arnold? Or what is Benedict Arnold? Is he a hero or a villain? Was he disloyal to his country? What was his country? What side of, quote, truth does one stand on? And it seems that the position being taken by the United States is the U.S. position is always the correct position to side with, and you should not be siding with any other position. If you're a U.S. citizen, that is the way things are. But what about higher consciousness? What about some greater truth than what side you may sit on one particular issue, another particular issue at that particular time? Well, those are questions that will continue to bug us. Some people would say, well, looking at it from an internationalist position, you know, these terrorists, Al-Qaeda. Anyone who stands against Al-Qaeda is correct, and anyone who supports Al-Qaeda is wrong. And so it's a clear question of if you're a terrorist or you support terrorism, then it's bad. And if you are against terrorism, then you're good. But what about organizations not belonging to and in fact fighting against Al-Qaeda, but who are terrorist organizations nevertheless, organizations that have been going into foreign countries foreign to those organizations and overthrowing countries and disturbing the economic situation and the environmental situation in other areas. Should one look that deeply behind the underlying issue? Or does one say, if I am a citizen of this particular country, anything that my country does, or my nation state in more appropriate legalistic term, anything that this nation state does, I need to support it because that's where my loyalty, my citizenship lies. And others would say, but if that's the case, then that's not a standard. That's only your familiarity, your association, your, quote, loyalty, which is nothing but familiarity. Is there no deeper standard or no higher standard? What is right and wrong by, let's say, international law? Otherwise, we would have uncontrolled madness. And it would be just left up to whoever is the strongest rules, and they can get away with it. Didn't the world leaders come to an agreement back in about 1945, actually in 1917, I think, or 1916, in the formation of the League of Nations? They tried to reach that same agreement. Then, out of San Francisco, in the formation of the United Nations, another set of agreements. And in both times, they called for a, quote, new world order, by which international principles that was common among the group of humankind could be established. And they call it the laws of nations, international law. Not creating necessarily new laws, but stretching back and looking at the history and saying, these are the laws that we have established. Let us reaffirm our commitment to international law. And in doing that, they agreed that these are the standards, so that you do not jump from one occasion to another occasion, depending on who your friends are or where your loyalties are. But let's use an independent standard. And international law says you need to respect the sovereign integrity of all countries, irrespective of whether or not those countries are small and weak or large and strong, irrespective of whether or not the invading or the violating country is large and strong or small and weak. And I expect that all human beings were called upon to follow those standards rather than to whimper away at whoever one's loyalty is with. And so when the situation arose in the Nuremberg trials in Germany, when German soldiers and German citizens who were complicit in the activities of the Third Reich, and when they were charged for violating human principles, and in their defense they said, I was just following the national law of the land of Germany. And the principle was established or reestablished, and the United States was in the forefront of establishing those principles. That you cannot use your internal, or what is called domestic laws, to justify violating these international principles. And so they were found guilty. Well, I submit that those who are in cahoots with the CIA when they are engaged in these violations of national sovereignties are all violators of international law and should be reprimanded for it, including, especially George Bush, a president of the United States, who committed so much of that violation, as well as his vice president, Dick Cheney, as well as his secretary of defense and all the others, including Colin Powell. They should all be charged. So what are you wasting your time with John Kerry? And why don't you go after the real criminals? Okay. Telephone number here is 524-1080. If you would like to call and share an opinion, give me a call. 524-1080. We'll put you on the radio and see what you have to say about that.
Kaulana na pua o Hawaii Kupa ama hope o ka aina Iki mai ka elele o ka loko ino Pala pala anunu me ka paka Mane mai Hawaii moku o ke ave Koku ana honoa o Pi'ilani Ka ko'o mai kaua I o mano Pa'apu me ke one o ka kuhi hewa Aolea e kau I ka pulima Maluna o ka pepa o ka enemi O o hui ai nā ku ai hewa I ka pono sivila a o ke kanaka Aole makoa e mina mina I ka pu'u kala o ke au puni Ua lava ma